machine to do this. Don't put a lot of tension on it so it'll slip when you get in there. What are you looking at me for again? I am not the important thing around here. Okay. So you got plenty of room up here. You don't bottom out on your stop. So we got another couple inches to go deeper. We'll go down a little ways. So you want to coast down. If you go too fast, it bottoms out and tries to break stuff. So you want to go in there deep enough to get a couple threads, but not too much. You make sure you line everything right up, so it's right there. Coast down the right speed and drive it in. Just keep steady pressure on your handle. Reverse it to come out. And that's all it takes to do with a tapered one. Now I can kill the noise. Till I need it again. Alright. Wipe off your tap so it's good and clean. Now we go to our one that I ground down. So I ground it down until I got down to the last thread. And if you notice I even cheated, I put a little chamfer on the end of that thread so it's still a cutting thread at the very end. That way we can go all the way to the very bottom. Because they don't make these in a bottoming tab, I don't think. But I have one. Okay, gotta get the chips out of the hole. For that I need a special nozzle, which is probably not here. Yep. That'd be too easy if I had a nozzle where I needed it. Go down here, all that noise is at. So any nozzles that have tips on them. Let's see, which one do we want today? Let's go with a big one. In this case, the medium one. So these go all the way in the bottom of the hole when you're blowing stuff out, and blows the chips upward instead of just blowing them back in the hole. So that's how you clean a hole out. See the chips right there? So that is how you do it. Go like that. Go down here and just blow it. You blow it down here wherever you want the chips to go to. I want to go in that back corner, not toward me, so. That's how you blow it. Still got no place to hang that thing yet. So now you can see in the hole, it's threaded most of the way down, but not all the way. So we're going to go ahead and tap it the rest of the way now. Okay, so put a little oil on this. Tap it all the way down. If you want to make sure your tap is straight, just compare it to this stud here. It should be parallel that way, and it should be parallel this way. If it's parallel on both planes, you're golden. If it's tilted, you're off. In this case, the rocker arm won't go down very easily. That's why I prefer using the machine, because you know it's perpendicular to my surface, as long as my head's sitting flat on the table. So, this here, we just go ahead and turn this down a little bit. That's about all she's going to go. See, I cut a little more material out of there. Blow this out again. So it might not be all the way down because there might have been chips down in there. So I'll try it one more time just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's all the way down. It only takes a minute to check. So yeah, it was all the way down. You can go any deeper. There you go. That's all it takes to do this. Okay. It's done. Make sure that's totally clean. Wipe off the excess oil. Now we're ready for a heater coil. So this is a winding tool. So as long as heater coils are put in correctly, you don't have a problem with them. All these people don't like them because they think they're no good. That's because they don't know how to put them in. So this is like a lock washer. See that tang right there? It digs into the aluminum of the head, and that's what locks it in coming up. When you break this tang off down here, you have that same sharp edge, it digs in going down. So the heater coil is basically blocked in both directions, so it doesn't move. That's how it's supposed to be. Now, if you're a dumbass, you poke the thing through the bottom of the hole like that, there's no stop on it, it's going to go straight out the hole. If you don't take this tang off, two things happen. One, the heater coil can go all the way to the bottom of the hole. Second thing is the bolt will jam in here at the bottom and jam the threads up, screw it all up, and then you try to get the bolt out, it'll pull the whole heater coil out, or at least it'll pull out a bunch of damaged threads. And that's because you didn't put it in correctly. When it's in there correctly, the bolt should go all the way down until it hits the bottom of the head, because it'll go right through the heater coil and bottom out in the head, if it's done correctly. You always want to make sure that this is not flush with the surface, otherwise when you're tightening down your bolt, you're hitting right on that tip right there, and it doesn't tighten down around the whole part, it's only tightened on that heater coil. No good. So you always want to make sure this is a half a turn to a full turn down, so that when you pull on the thread, it has a little bit of give coming up, because everything stretches a little bit, and it doesn't bottom out that tang. Plus, it gives you a good bite for the heater coil, so it doesn't unscrew on you. So as long as you do it right, it works good. So this is a winding tool, so you just crank it like that. That's why it's called a winder. So you just put it in there, wind it up. Heater coil bottoms out at some point right there at bottom. Now you go into the right here, and that compresses the heater coil right there if you look at it. So that pre-compresses the heater coil, because the heater coil is like a big spring, you're compressing the whole thing. This also makes it tight. So now that's pre-compressed, it'll go in the hole a lot easier. Otherwise, you have to compress it to get it to go in the first hole. You never want to push on the heater coil to make it go in. You want to push on the outside of the heater coil, out here on the outside edge, so you're pushing the whole thing down. If you just push it with a tool straight in, you're pushing on that tip, and you can cross thread it or break the tip off. Both of those are bad things to do. So this just goes right in there like it's supposed to, because it's already pre-compressed. So you can always unscrew that one turn so you don't bottom out. You can see where your heater coil's at, so you don't go in too deep. So you can see there's a couple turns of heater coil sticking up there. So now we just go down till it's in. So that's about flush. And I just bottomed out, which is a bad thing. And my heater coil is a little bit on the long side. So the heater coil is in there where it belongs, below the surface, but it bottomed out in the bottom of the hole, which is not a good thing to do. Because when you get down there, that thread we put in there is tapered. So on a regular tap, it's tapered, so the first couple threads here are still tapered on this one, and I bottomed out, which means that last thread is pretty tight in there, which will jam the bolt up and make it hard to come out. In this case, we're using a stud, so it's okay, but I wish it didn't do that, but it did. Okay, now I got to try to break that tang off somehow, and that's going to be interesting. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take a screwdriver and beat on it right on the corner, try to knock it free. We're also going to have to pry on it back and forth a little bit, and a bunch of little tricks trying to get it out. If that doesn't work, I got to pull the whole heater coil out, which is even more fun. Because the dumbass went in too deep. Usually these things are deep enough, but... Okay, where's that heater coil at? Okay, it looks like the tang is right here on the edge right here. So I'm going to push the screwdriver all the way this way and try to break it. Quick whap is all you do, but it's not coming because it's bottomed out. And we're trying to break it off. Let's see, did it come off or not? It did not come off. Got some chips and crap coming out, but not the helicoil. Okay, get some light. I've got a bolt so I can see how bad it is. Yep, it's in there. You can see it in the bottom of the hole possibly right there. I don't know. So I got to try to knock it out. So if I pry it back and forth, it breaks off eventually, usually. It's not the way it breaks, so it's kind of against, you're working at the wrong angles when you're doing it that way. I'm not feeling anything, so maybe it popped, I don't know. Nope. Still there. Not working. Can't feel it. Not coming out. When I beat on it, I probably beat it down into the head too deep. You can see it down there, but it does not want to come out. Nope. Looks like it moved. If it moved, it should be broken off. Yeah. It moved. There you go. Came off. So like I said, that's the part we had to break off. It fractured on this corner right here. This is the part I was beating on. You can kind of see the marks rather prying on this side. Finally popped it. Okay, so now it's all out. Let's make sure all the chips are out of there and the residue. Okay. Now let's see how bad it really is. If this goes all the way to the bottom, we're golden. If it stops, we are screwed. Okay, it went all the way down to that point. Gets tight right there. So about a 1/4 inch of threads are hanging out. So we're going in a 1/4 inch from the thread. We got that much engagement going in. So let's go check a stud and make sure we got enough room. Sure, we probably do. So here's our stud. We got about a 1/4 inch of thread hanging out. So anything above my thumbnails is extra, and you can see how we got plenty of room. It's helicoiled 100%. Alright, so that's what we wanted to see. Alright. Go over here to install it correctly. Okay, so now what we gotta do is we gotta get this crap off of here. This is basically just a thread screwed on, so see how it comes off in pieces. So just take your fingernail and just knock it all off. You can see how it comes off pretty easy. You can unscrew them a little bit too. If you don't have a fingernail, you can use a screwdriver, which I left over there, but here's a deburring tool. Harder to use that than a screwdriver, but yeah, it has a sharp, doesn't have a sharp edge on it. Alright, more screwdrivers. That's why you have more than one screwdriver. So now we just break this up, see how it comes off. Each piece comes up. Hope you're not picking up all that screaming noise out there. Again, about half a thread, half a turn each time we break off a piece of this. So it's pretty hard all the way to the bottom, so it's not coming out. Because we did Loctite this in, if you remember, so there is residue. Just Loctite it to the bolt, or stud in this case. Yeah, go hard right to the end. Last half a helical thread. Alright, so now that's off cleanly. Put it back in. Pieces left over we don't need. Okay, now go ahead and install this. So we got our red Loctite out again. So just take this and put a little bit on here. I'll put a little bit down in these threads also. So it goes in there like that. Now you screw it on down. It should be good. See if we can run it in with a zip gun. Wouldn't that far with a zip gun. Okay, now we need a nut. Jam stud it together. Go in a normal way. Tighten it up until it's all the way down. We're going for like 1/450 for depth. Anything under 1.5 inches is stock. So if you look at it right there, you can see how we're probably getting close. I'm not sure if you saw any of that in the camera, because I wasn't looking through the lens. Okay, it looks like we are a little bit under 450. Maybe we're a little bit too deep. Come back a little bit. Get that out of the way so I can see better. And looks like we're right where I want to be. 450, 460. Usually a couple threads up from the base, and that looks like about where we're at. So a couple up on that one, a couple on that one. It must be blowing up. Here we go. So that's the right height. Also, if you put it straight across, it'll be pretty level. Alright, so we'll let that set up for a while, and we should be able to unscrew the nut off the top without pulling the stud. Otherwise, I'll have to hold the stud with a pair of vice grips, which I don't really want to do. So we'll let that sit there for a little bit. Let the Loctite do its job. Okay, that's it. That's it for the helical repair. We'll be back in a couple minutes.